Jesus, when He wants to tell us about what God's mercy looks like, and when He wants to teach us about the scandal of grace, when He wants us to feel God's love, one of the most common images that Jesus chooses involves food, involves the image of a banquet or a party. And I love this parable in Luke chapter 14. Jesus is telling this parable, and He says, because the owner of the house, the guy that was the host of the party, has sent out all these invitations, and no one wants to come to his party. And I mean, he's going to throw on a lavish affair. So here's what it says in Luke 14:21. Then the owner of the house became angry. No one wants to come to his party. He ordered his servants, go out quickly into the streets and alleys of the town. Bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame. And that's Jesus' image. Bring in, if you will, the riffraff. Bring in the people who you wouldn't think belong here, because those who look like they should belong here aren't coming. Bring them in and let them enjoy this banquet. Jesus liked to eat. Jesus enjoyed food and enjoyed conversation and enjoyed doing ministry over piping hot dishes of food. So much that He actually got the reputation of being a glutton. He liked to eat, folks. So Jesus is always doing ministry connected with food. Now this morning what we're going to do, we're going to celebrate the Lord's Supper together as a family, as disciples of Jesus. We've been talking about grace the last few weeks. We've talked about how despite appearances to the contrary, we are spiritually crippled. We are spiritually lame. Last week we used the image of being bankrupt. When we bring ourselves into God's presence, we have nothing to offer. We come and we throw ourselves at His mercy because we're all sinners. We've talked about how it doesn't do any good to compare yourself to someone else and say, well, I'm better than that guy. No, it doesn't do any good. Because when you're comparing yourself with the perfection, the purity, the justice that is God, the kindness that is God, we don't measure up. But He calls us in. We who are spiritually lame. And He invites us to sit at His table. The King of Kings, Jesus. He says, come and eat at my table. And we say, well, I'm not worthy to eat at your table. I don't belong here. No, you're going to eat at one of my table. You're going to eat at my table. Well, I'm not even worthy to be called your servant. And Jesus says, you're going to be one of God's sons. He wants to adopt you into His family. Come and eat at my table. I mean, you can either reject that. You can continue to believe you're not worthy, which is true, and use that as a reason not to approach Jesus. Or you can recognize your unworthiness and go running into the arms of Jesus, saying, yes, I accept your invitation. I need to be with you. I need to break bread with you, Jesus. I need to break bread with your family. And so we gather around the table, and as Jesus says, come to my table, come to the royal table. You're invited to come here every week and break bread with me and break bread with my family. We say yes to that invitation.